Hey, can you hear me okay there, Peter?
Hey, hi, how are you?
Great. For the record, is it Pete or is it Peter? You never know what's what.
Pete, my friends call me Pete. My family calls me Pete.
There
So
you go.
you can call me Pete. We're friends. Now we're friends.
Yes. Well, your name actually came up a couple days ago when I was interviewing Kevin Martin of all
Oh,
people.
cool. Yeah.
And so you have a single on the new Candlebox record. Was that
Yeah.
the only song that you wrote for that album or contributed?
He and I co-wrote that one together, and then we just did I just produced an unplugged, quote unquote, unplugged version of their song Riptide. In fact, finishing the mix tonight. So we're going to release a video with that mix, and that is my contribution to the record. And I'm so lucky and honored to be able to be part of it, man. I mean, it's
Great band.
Absolutely, and a great record. It's a real rock record, which is not probably a term that I throw around too much anymore,
Right,
but
right.
it is a real rock record where you can put it on and just, it goes deep. It goes very, very, very deep. I don't think there's a dog on that record,
No dogs. No dogs.
Yeah.
So the big question overlying this whole thing, we were connected because of your coffee company, but I just mentioned knowledge of your musical background and your current contributions. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a musician? What are you? How do you like?
Right now, I'm both. I'm wearing both hats and having a great time with all of it. I've always been a musician for years. I started my career in the early '90s, and I've had the good fortune to do a lot of stuff. And then now at the ripe young age of 60, I have become, in the last few years, my wife and I have gotten involved in a number of different things that we're doing, So I did some real estate stuff, and we've got a company that does that, and we've got the company that does coffee, and we've got a web store that does coffee, and we have a bakery that we're working on right now. So my wife is a gluten-free baking genius, so that's another avenue we're pursuing. And then she's of course is in the music business as well. So yeah, we are officially entrepreneurs. How 21st century of us.
Well, nowadays it's just not a shocker when you find out that somebody is a musician and a business person. I think hip hop kind of pioneered that first, where the person has the record deal and the success. And then you go, okay, so now there's going to be the whole album of the group of childhood friends. That's going to be under the record label imprint that they have under the major label deal.
Yeah.
And there's going to be the vodka. Then there's going to be the clothing line.
That's it. I missed the vodka, but I'll think about it. Yeah. Here in the South, it'll be brown liquor.
There you go. But the coffee is great. Are you partnered with another person, or is that a trade secret as to who's helping?
Trade secret. No, I partnered with a roaster who is in Nashville, and she's like the Yoda of coffee roasting in general, but she's a 20-year pioneer of espresso here in Nashville, and I had the good fortune of meeting her and partnering with her and sourcing our own beans and having our own label, and it's been amazing. My learning curve has just shot off the planet in the last couple of years. I mean, I've been a coffee snob since the early '90s, but learning to roast and roasting and being part of that side of it has just been phenomenal. And it's what I've learned and what I've learned about beans. It's akin to really, grapes and wine is what I equate it to the most. I've been able to tell for years between a good coffee and a bad coffee. Now I know why, Now I know all the nuances why, and it's pretty cool.
So Washington State, where your roots are basically coming from before you found Nashville, is the coffee state. Because
it is.
Of Starbucks, because of the secondary brands and Pike Place and et cetera.
Yeah.
What's the second best state for coffee? Is it Tennessee because you're there?
Nolensville, Tennessee. It's a close second. I lived in New York, and certainly New York has got some great spots.
Sure.
I think it's very well versed in good coffee and coffee houses of the old traditional kind, where poetry and acoustic guitars are being played in dark corners. But it's I feel really fortunate to be here with it in Nashville, because it isn't maybe as prevalent. This is a big little city like Seattle was in the 90s.
Mhm.
Now Seattle's a big city, but I feel that about Nashville. It's exploding here, and this is a natural part of it, I think. A good coffee joint, and so far that's what we've heard from people that are trying our beans, is that we are a good coffee joint. How could I be any happier? I mean, that's just, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just trying to do a good job of what I have, and so far we've succeeded.
Also in the Seattle end, I'm finding that more and more musicians that I'm talking to who are synonymous with Seattle got out in the last 15 years. Like 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Ann Wilson from Heart, who talked about having your brother over for pool parties. Were you over at any of those pool parties at Ann's house?
I never went to a pool party. I know Ann. I've known her for a long time.
Sure.
But, I actually got to open some shows for her back in the day, but no, I didn't. I know which pool parties you're talking about. I mean, my brother, he was a great storyteller, and I, we would laugh about things like that. But yeah, I had never planned to leave Seattle, and it was 20 years ago now. Hold on just a second. I just
sure.
My Bluetooth just kicked in and stole you away.
21st century problems right there. So it's not just Ann, it's Kevin from Candlebox. He went to LA. More and more people have that Seattle leaving kind of thing. And it seems like New York, LA, all the hair metal people, they're in Nashville.
Yes. Mark Slaughter. I've seen Mark here. He's a friend of a friend. And he lives about a mile from me.
I know he's there. Nelson,
Singer,
Poison, they're all there. So one thing I was trying to figure out is there a secret scene, like a secret jam night in Nashville, the way that in LA there was that Happening Harry's night where
not that I've found yet. Not that I found. Now that you said it, I'm gonna go look for it. Hold on just a second. I gotta stop this from happening here. Stand by. Put these off.
We'll do some creative editing right there. All good.
There we go. Thank you. I'm just going to shut this off. My long years of making music, my hearing aids are my Bluetooth, and they just keep. So I shut them off. It won't happen again.
No problem at all. So is there a Nashville secret hidden jam night kind of thing with all these people who sold millions of records and weekend warriors?
Not that I've found yet, but I'm going to go looking for it. I know Dave Mustaine. He lives not far from me, and I'll bet you Dave knows where it is. In fact, he just reached out yesterday. His birthday was a couple weeks ago, and I reached out to him. So we were talking yesterday. I'm going to ask Dave. He's got to have the pipeline if anybody does, right?
So it sounds like you're basically the guy that bridges the gap between all the genres and eras.
Wow, I'll take that lofty title. Thank you. Yeah, I am. I just, being here in Nashville, the music scene is so big here in Nashville, and because of my pedigree from Seattle, I guess you'd call it a pedigree, and I know a lot of people, and over the years maintained a lot of great friendships, and there are a lot of expatriate Seattleites here and LA and New York. The economy here is great, and the region is beautiful, and it just is a natural progression. It seems like, especially with the last couple of years, a lot of people I know have fled the big city life to get to something a little bit slower and maybe a little bit safer. This is certainly that. But I'm lucky. I mean, we came here just for a different reason. We came here for a school, and the rest of it has just been money for us. It's just been wonderful, on many levels.
But back to you, because this is not the Promote Tennessee Tourism. What's Pete up to and all that? So are there long-term plans for the coffee brand, or is it just the opportunities kind of present themselves because you got a great product and you got?
Oh, absolutely. There's a plan. Absolutely, there's a plan. We've got our one shop that we've opened. We have our web store, which is going really well. We just started international shipping, which is going really well, and we'll have another spot up and running by springtime. The next one, we want to include the roasting plant. Right now, I have very small space. I want the next one to be bigger so we can include the roasting plant there, because it's cool to see. It's a cool thing to watch go on, and I want to incorporate that. And my wife and I would like to have 5 places, in the next couple of years. And it certainly is the opportunities here for that, for sure, especially with the product that we're creating and the brand. Our brand just came flying out of the chute. My wife's a marketing genius. And so our logo and our brand and our marketing, all of that stuff has just been on point. And we've been able to really garner a lot of really positive attention really early on. And we're building on that. But for sure, I mean, Warren Buffett says you have to have at least 4 revenue streams. So, that's my goal. And I think Warren knows what he's talking about. So, no, we want to build the company and just keep going and see where it takes us,
Fair. That's very interesting in your approach, that you're looking for the growth in the retail, because most people, they like the automated approach where they can white label their coffee, where it's just made by somebody else, slap the logo on, and that's it. But you're actually legitimately looking to be an industry of your own. Would
Absolutely.
all those retail spaces be in the Nashville area or Tennessee as a whole?
Well, we're going to branch out from where we're at here. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to isolate in one particular part of it, but we're going to just work on Tennessee for now. Although that being said, we were approached to put a Cornell Brothers in Atlanta, so we'll see. That part will take shape as we move forward. I never say never. I never say no. If someone came along tomorrow and said, you got to be in Poughkeepsie, and we got a great spot for you. Well, I like Poughkeepsie, we could have a spot there. So it's exciting. The opportunities are exciting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would say if we went back 20 years ago to music people having food and beverage products, people thought that Sammy Hagar was nuts.
Exactly, right?
And then you fast forward to 2 or 3 summers ago, and at our amphitheater here on Long Island, Jones Beach, I'm guessing you've been here a time or two.
Yeah.
They have the Trejo's Tacos, Danny Trejo.
Right.
Tacos.
Yeah.
It has the truck, and I think that's in 50 amphitheaters or something.
Yeah.
So I hear all this and I go, it's not far-fetched to start seeing your coffee be the coffee of Live Nation at a certain point in time.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, I love that endorsement. But yeah, I mean, for sure, for rock and roll especially, we have to think big, because rock and roll, which used to be so huge, now isn't. And so we have to be able to open up our heads and think in a more global way. If we want to stay vital, stay alive, and keep moving. I mean, I'm excited. I haven't had this much fun probably since the early 90s when I started making music, because now I get to do both. I mean, I had a grand opening of our shop, and I played a set with my buddy Brian Quinn, who's the lead guitar player for Candlebox. I got to play a show, first set I'd gotten to play for a long time. And now I'm putting in a sound system and a stage because I'm going to do it again, So it's one hand washing the other. And we certainly are able to incorporate both things that I like to do. So I'm really happy about it. I'm really lucky, man. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm just grateful and lucky. My wife is a genius, and I just am along for the ride,
That should be one of the varieties of your coffee. My wife is
a genius. Yes, absolutely. I will remember that. Yeah, it's on the back of the next T-shirt, I think. But yeah, so it's a family business too. We do it together. We're partners in all senses of the word, and this has just been, her applying her smarts and me being the beneficiary of a name that people know.
Sure. So recapping what I know here, you're still working with Candlebox beyond just co-writing a track on the latest album, Wolves. So you're doing some mixing work. You just played a gig at the coffee house. There might be more gigs coming soon. The coffee brand is growing and scaling and really smart on that end. The man also had some success in the real estate space.
Yeah.
Got a pretty damn good Rolodex if Dave Mustaine is calling him up.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you're one of those people who is where he wanted to be later in life, as opposed to peaking when you were 25.
Oh, so well put. Yeah, so well put. Absolutely. You know, I had an idea of where I was going in 1995 and what success was going to look like. You know, fast forward 25 years later, never could have written this script. Never in a million years could I have written this script. I would have never thought of any of this. You know, I was going to be, you know, on the radio and on a bus and on tour for into the golden years until I rode off into the sunset. You know, this is so much different and so much better than I could have imagined. I mean, truly, you know, the friends I've maintained and my family and just, you know, the success wears a lot different colors than I thought it was going to, you know, and I'm so grateful for it.
Well said. Well, the last thing I want to ask you before you're free, man, has nothing to do with you or your products. Well, it does have to do with you. Is there a TV recommendation you could pass along to somebody who needs a new show to start?
Oh man,
who consumes
I'm going to show what a nerd I am right now. The British Bake Off show, man. It is so cool. It is. I mean, it's cool. Don't anybody tell you different. It is a badass show. And my wife, being a baker, kind of led us to it. But it is a badass show. I'm serious. Those people are gnarly. Yeah. So there you go.
That is going on the list, Pete. Well, thank you for
your time. Oh, thank you.
Paltrocast.